as the year goes on, I think we're only going to see more of his playbook. And I think that we did see that this week. And that's something that we talked about last week with.
Hello, friends. Awkward beginning. This is TexAgs Rewind presented by Specs in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm David Nuno. It took me 3 takes to get that. I don't know why. I do it every single day. Caitlin Torn, the snap and the answer. What was your favorite part of the show?
I'm going to go Max Wright this week.
He was good, wasn't he?
He was really good today.
Really good. Check out what Max Wright had to say about the A&M offense, the tight ends. Cade, Bickham, tell the people what your favorite part was.
You know, I thought Ryan Brauninger was great today on Recruiting Country. Fantastic stuff.
Okay. I understand that Brauninger was pretty good. But we had Paul Finebaum on the show. Can somebody give Paul Finebaum a little love on this show? We didn't even get to play the entire interview because we had some technical difficulties, but it was good. And I shouldn't tell you we had difficulties, but I'm honest. I tell the people what happens. We also had John Harris on the program. He is very smart. And we went back and forth on the quarterback situation. That and more. It is the Rewind.
As usual, SEC Nation timing is good. 11 a.m. I feel like every time y'all get it, it's 11 a.m., game starts. This is all of a sudden shaped up to be a pretty important game for both teams, is it not?
Yeah, no, it is. And, you know, there's a lot of debate about Missouri, whether they look beatable or not. They do look beatable. And I think that's really a tremendous advantage for the Aggies, who have started to put together a really nice season, Billy. And I'm fired up about it because you can't help but like Mike Elko and want this program to finally have a good run, which it has not had in too long.
You know, Paul, I'll tell you where I sit right now with this team is I don't feel like they've shown anything on the field to go and get attention outside of College Station. They've beaten an Arkansas and Florida team. I don't think either of those will go bowling. But I think you guys and people that cover the SEC, it's been enough to kind of like get your attention, it feels like, to say, man, I'm really interested to see how this goes this weekend, because Missouri, like you said, everybody kind of waiting to see if they're real or fraudulent. And A&M, the last time most people really paid attention, we're losing to a top 10 team at home. And they're kind of fortunate, I feel like all of a sudden you look up 4 weeks later and they're getting another crack at it.
But Billy, I remember we did our show in Florida, so I was really plugged into that. And, you know, when we heard about Wegman, everybody kind of held their heart. And that was somewhat of a do or die stand for Billy Napier. And it just felt like that Aggie team was getting into the wrong stadium that day. And to me, that win really meant a lot. It was able to wash away some of the pain from Notre Dame, and I think it enabled the program to really get on the right footing, and I think we saw that Saturday in Arlington.
John, let's talk about that Missouri defense, because I look at the numbers, they look fantastic. I look at their opponents, they don't look fantastic. How good is that defense?
I think it's athletic, but it's still, to me, it's, I don't say relatively inexperienced, but they've done a good job of kind of replenishing losing Darius Robinson last year. They lost Tyron Hopper. But I think that defense, I don't think the defense has really been challenged. The only team that really challenged it that I can think of is Boston College. And I don't know that Boston College is ultimately the type of offense you go, ooh, they scare me. Now, Castellanos does, and Castellanos made some plays and really kept Boston College in that game. I don't think this Missouri defense is really as good as the numbers say, if I'm being honest. I still feel like they're playing with a lot of guys on that side of the ball that we're still kind of getting to know, because they had a really veteran-laden team at all 3 levels the last couple of years. I mean, they had 2 corners, Ennis Rakestraw and Chris Abrams-Drain, that played, 3 years together. So, they're still kind of getting that roster kind of up to speed with where they want it to be. Now, it's athletic, really move, and they've got some D linemen that are like, whoa, they'll test you, because they're not the 330-pound big, like, Tavondre Sweat kind of guys, but they're like 290, 295, thick, long, athletic, and can all move. And so that's going to give the offensive line some issue. But I feel like Boston College got a few things against them that I think A&M can take advantage of. because Marcel Reed, if he's the starter, can move like Castellanos. And Castellanos give them some issues. I don't think it's the most disciplined group in the world, but they play hard. They're athletic. They get after it. And they've taken advantage of playing some opponents that really are kind of, you wouldn't think are on their particular level. And they probably should have lost that Boston College game. But Missouri has, Brady Cook, Theo Weiss, and Luther Burden, and those two running backs. They've got some ammunition offensively, but they probably, Boston College probably won that game. But that defense will give A&M issue just because it's as athletic as you can find in the SEC. I don't know that they play all that well together yet. They just have taken advantage of a pretty easy schedule, I think, to start the year.
There was a point in the season, a couple weeks back where we were talking about, hey, they're getting to the red zone, but they're scoring more field goals. Last week, 2 for 2 in the red zone with touchdowns. And I think that's where we've seen Colin Klein's offense really, like where we really see the creative plays and the openness, the way Marcel was able to basically walk in for a touchdown, the touchdown to Trey. Just talk a little bit about that red zone offense.
Yeah, I love the way that he uses his motions and misdirections and eye violations to get the yards that he needs to get in the red zone. Red zone makes your offense a little bit different. You don't have as much space to work with, and guys are going to be locked in the red zone. So you got to have your best plays in your pocket. I love the plays that they were running with Marcel, giving him the chance to use his legs. I mean, Marcel is quick and explosive, and man, if you can create a hole for him, he's going to hit it, and he's going to hit it fast. So I love seeing that. And then obviously having the misdirection with the tight end sneaking underneath with Trey Watson for that touchdown. I think that Coach Klein has a great offense from what I've seen. I've loved getting to see some of his creativity in the red zone, like you were saying. I think that as the year goes on, I think we're only going to see more of his playbook. And I think that we did see that this week. And that's something that we talked about last week with, I expect him to bring more things out of his pocket and not up from his sleeve. I think that you have to do that as you get deeper into SEC play. Teams have enough film on you now. They've seen a lot of your consistent plays that you run. So you have to change things up. You can't be predictable. You can't be a team that runs the same plays in same situations. And I think that's why we had success in the red zone was we ran different plays. We ran with things that maybe we haven't ran a ton before. And I think that Coach Klein's doing a great job of keeping things new and fresh and different every single week.
All right, let's get into some recruiting points. Pool of players. When you say it's not expanding much, kind of explain what that means.
So everybody thought, and there's always this kind of, you wonder going into football seasons, okay, this is the group. A&M's got this amount of commitments, and here's the group of players that they're after. And you're talking like a Toby Hostrup, Lamont Rogers, who's obviously still committed to Mizzou. The receivers that they've been after, Dalen McCutcheon. There's a new one that's kind of popped up this week, Malik Clark. But Malik Clark is the outlier. Like the pool of players that they're really going after is not vast and expansive. It's pretty much the same names. I guess Toby Hostrup you could add to that new group, but he's kind of a special case considering his background in football and him being so new to it that everybody is just now jumping onto his recruitment. But A&M really hasn't cast a wide net. Mm-hmm. We're about halfway through the season now. By this point, the huddle tapes have made the rounds. Anybody that's having really good seasons has been scouted. And you just have to wonder, A&M must feel really good about where they're at with a lot of their recruits because they haven't started sending out new offers and they don't feel like they need to stretch themselves right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kate was talking to me in the middle of that. So do you think part of that is Coach Elko and the staff have zeroed in? These are the guys we want. We don't need to kind of expand.
What we also don't know is how many each year, how much they're going to allot for the portal. Mm-hmm. And even though this is their first full recruiting class, when they jumped into the scene as a new staff here, they were behind on the class of 2025 in terms of relationships, getting to know the decision makers in each recruitment. Who's important? Is it mom? Is it dad? Is it grandpa? You're only better at that with more time and understanding each recruitment. So they were a little bit late to this class of 2025, where I think we're going to see a real clear picture of how they want to operate going forward is the class of 2026. And we'll get to a prospect in just a second in that class. But for the class of 2025, I think they're pretty much comfortable where they're at. with commitments, where their offers are out, where their targets are out, their feelers are out. And if they can pluck out of that group, that small select group that they're still after, they'd be thrilled.
All right, Caitlin, can you tell the people what they should do and sometimes don't do, but they actually should do it?
Y'all should all like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and tell your friends.
Appreciate it, everybody. We'll see you next time.